Hopefully, no issues. I was having an issue earlier with my phone, not quite sure why. Well, unfortunately, I had some internet issues when I tried to do my weekend live stream earlier on Saturday. So I figured I'd try my phone out to see if this would be any better and do it again. You look like a zombie? This is what you look like when you put in 12-hour days coding on the weekend, so I would say I look pretty good. Yeah, so I didn't want to be at the computer. I've been looking at the screen forever, so I figured why not do a little live stream on the phone, switch it up a little bit. But yeah, so I like to do these every weekend, answer questions, take questions. One second, I gotta open this. It's been an interesting week. Almost done with the main material for my second course, Learn Angular by Projects, Part 2, which is more Angular. This one actually includes MongoDB, Node, and Express. But that's what I've been working on all weekend and last weekend, and a little bit of the weekdays. Got the Christmas setup. Uh-oh. So it's very bad connection when I come to the living room. So I'll stick in the office. But yeah, so been working on some things. How's everyone doing? I have my 90-day review on Monday or Tuesday. Please assist, Node or PHP, which is better for the backend? Well, what do you want to do? What is your goal? There's a lot of PHP fans because there's a lot of jobs in PHP, but honestly, I'm much better at front end than I am back end, but I use Node because I find it quick and efficient. But it depends on what's the market in your area. But I would recommend Node for entry-level developers over PHP in web development, even though there's probably less jobs in reality. You have to... I mean, really, so here's the thing, is really, once you expose yourself to a back-end technology and, like, sort of what the main premise is, how to handle responses and requests and parse data, send data, route data, you can then apply that to whatever you want. Back-end, I think, is more of a conceptual thing than it is anything else. But that's just, I mean, I guess that's just my opinion at this point. Has become commoditized since everyone is learning to code. So I think more people are learning to code, but I think you are pretty far off saying that everyone is learning to code, because there are so many people who are not learning to code and need to be. How do I make sure to leave the chat up? For backend, are we talking about data structures, routing? Blocking the mic. Oh, sorry guys. What are we doing today? Just taking questions. I wanted to do a weekend live stream that I actually keep up like I normally do. So, Should I go to Niagara Falls today with my family? Yes. What web hosting do I use? I just use GoDaddy. There's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of hosting out there. I've never really had to worry about where and what, and a lot of people. That's one of those things that I don't have any reason, unless I'm launching a production application, to actually spend time investigating. It's something that just doesn't need to require any mental energy. It's like, yeah, I might save 90 cents to $3 a month, but I don't know. God, I'm looking pale, man. I'm looking pale and crusty. I don't think I've left the house, minus like short trips. I mean, this is my house. I can give a tour, but my workplace I can't. I mean, there's nothing. I'll give you a tour. The internet might break out. For some reason, the router's not working too well. So this is the office. This is where the magic happens. We got the lights over here. Got a little bit of padding on the. Got a green screen. A little bit more padding over here. Big old whiteboard over here for when I'm whiteboarding stuff out. It's probably about 5 feet. Got a bathroom, guest room. So kind of April's office. Washer and dryer area. First time I ever owned a washer and dryer. That was actually a really proud moment for me. I haven't had a washer and dryer in a unit for years. We got the TV, had some YouTube on, Christmas setup, anniversary gift for April, a little massage chair. Dining area, it's just a little gym area. The kitchen, nothing too crazy in here. Got some cool posters on here, some JavaScript posters. So another bathroom. Little like closet area. And of course the bedroom. With the kitties. Huh. That's it. Nothing crazy though. Just a typical apartment. More room than we need. Opinion on Treehouse? I mean, I'm sure they have lots of great videos, but I used it one time and I was too broke to pay $50 a month. How important is it to master Vanilla.js before learning a framework? So what I would say about this, and I said this in my most recent video, is to, one, I would spend time, so Vanilla.js, the vanilla in Vanilla.js refers to DOM manipulation, specifically in JavaScript. And most of 90% of that statement is true. We'll just say it as absolute. But that's really what it refers to, is manipulating the DOM in JavaScript. Now, by and large, frameworks will do that for you. And most jobs, you're going to be using a framework. It's very rare for most workplaces for you to be writing vanilla JavaScript. Now, you should be aware of certain things, and you'll pick certain things up. But I don't think it's that important. I think you need to understand JavaScript. You know what array methods are, how to use them, what functions are available to you. Obviously, all the standard stuff, the if, else, switch statements, while loops, for loops. I think you have to have that on lock, 100%. But the DOM manipulation in vanilla JavaScript, I'm not convinced that it's important for you to know. What's the best path to follow to become a full stack web developer? I mean, there's not a standard path. It's really just make projects and code every day and continue grinding, right? You have to really dive in deep, in my opinion, of let's go to meetups, let's build projects, let's launch websites, let's have a good GitHub, a LinkedIn, and just sort of love it. That's my opinion on it. There's a lot of people who don't love it. Do I think algorithms have helped me become a better developer? So when I was doing the code fights, I think it helped me solve algorithms better, but I also think it did help me become a better developer because I found myself being more comfortable with the array methods that are in there and forcing myself to understand the documentation. Can you do a video on the setup tour? Are you talking about this? My office? I think I already have a video up there on my channel. It's called Office Tour. Nothing really has changed too much. And we just walked through real quick. I did the Udacity React Now degree program. I didn't finish it because I got a job in Angular and I had to start studying Angular and I lost my interest in React. I really did like their program. I have 2 videos on it, and I would highly recommend it. Is an algorithm a function or something more? The way that he's using algorithm is sort of, you write a function to solve a purpose. So a very, very basic algorithm in computer science would be, when you're solving this, is, hey, I have an input of 2 strings and I want you to parse numbers out and only add the numbers and ignore the characters. And then you would parse it and then you would add the numbers together. If that makes any sense. Is it worth getting a bachelor's in computer science part-time while working as a web developer? It really depends. I am going back to school just because I found a program that I really like and I think it will help me down the road. I make a decent amount of money already for where I am in my career. But I'm more so just doing it to plan for the future. But it really depends on what your goal is. If your goal is just to be a developer, a junior developer, to go to senior developer, and you're already working, that sounds like you're already on your path. I prefer to be much more prepared. And the weakest area I'm excelling in every aspect of being a developer except the traditional education aspect. I'm passionate. I have projects. I'm gaining experience. That's one of the weaker ends, but I have experience now, and it's growing every year, right? I'm in the field. And I'm going to just go fill that one thing. I have a great side project that I'm working on. I have multiple side projects for that matter. So for me, I'm just tying up a weak link. But it also depends on how much money you want to make, what your personal lifestyle is. I don't have any kids. Most people who are like 30, which is my age, have children, and it makes it a little harder to go back to school. Or they don't want to do online. I'm doing online. It's $7,000 for the year, and there's a good chance I can finish within a year. But it's also up to you to make sure that you get paid for going and getting your bachelor's and job hopping if you have to, or demanding a larger raise when your review comes around. So, how do you stay so motivated? You work extremely hard. Sometimes as a developer, I start feeling like I'll never get over the hump. I mean, I have my days, man. I have my days where I don't feel... I was just telling April yesterday I started feeling like a loser again recently. It was just a moment, but it was just frustration was kicking in of personal things in my life. And so when that happens, you have 2 things. So I had to answer your question, yesterday I was basically talking with April, telling her about my frustrations, about how I feel like a loser. I can't accomplish what I want to, and then I went back to work. because it's like what's not going to help is me not grinding it out. So it's okay to have those frustrations and to be unhappy with where you're at. I think that's it. You know, no one has a smile on their face 100% of the time. I don't think. Maybe it's just me. But when you, it's okay to express the frustrations and to say like, I don't want to code 100% of the time. I don't, you know, I'm burnt out or whatever. But how do you overcome that? You just, for me, I just go and do it. I don't care if I don't want to. I just go and do it. Because I know I will thank myself later on. So, how do you maintain good health, mental and physical? Well, my physical health, I need to go get my hand checked out. I've been waiting until April gets a job to go spend money on that. But mental health, I think it's just about being happy at where you're at and what you're doing and continually working to move forward. And then just for your health in general, eating healthy is probably the best advice. And exercise, something I'm not doing, to be honest. But I think when it comes to your mental health, making sure that you're not part of the 70% that are unhappy with where they work, and going from there. I think that's probably the biggest thing that most people could do. Some comments about JS future. I don't really know, to be honest. I haven't really thought about it too much. It'll be interesting to see if Vue takes off. I know a lot of people are hailing it as the latest and the greatest. So that would be my interest to see if Vue takes off and if Node as a backend continues to grow. Best sites for free projects to practice. The best free projects for you to practice are your own. You could do Free Code Camp. They have projects, but I highly encourage you. The ones that are going to you're going to learn the most and impress employers the most are the ones that you are building on your own. That you have an idea and you want to build it. Do I have any automate ideas? I mean, I'm a front-end developer, so you can't automate components. You build components with the idea that you're going to use them in other applications and then import them. It's not exactly automation, but DevOps does a lot of automating. So that's another thing that you could look into about deploying your code. Hey, what do you think of P1XT's Get Job Ready guide? Really necessary? It just looks like it's going a whole lot more time to finish compared to Free Code Camp's curriculum. I'm not familiar with that, but I'll try and make a mental note to check it out and maybe talk about it. Yeah. God, look at all those chords, man. How can you get accredited through coding online? Are you talking about like a accredited degree, or what are you talking about? I mean, there's a bunch of online accredited colleges. Western Governors University is one. If you're talking about like getting certified in JavaScript and things like that, will you ever go back to finish your degree? Yeah, I'm actually just set my transcripts in for a software engineering degree through Western Governors University. I will either be starting January 1st or February 1st, depending on when my transcripts from the other schools arrive. Is it necessary to have a deep knowledge of any technology that we learn? It depends on where you're at in your career and what it is that you're doing. I'm of the belief that 90% of the time you use about 10% of the language. So you should understand that 10% pretty well. You just kind of be able to reference back to what you're using. What fund am I using? The Galaxy S7 Edge, piece of shit, though. I wouldn't recommend it. Matter of fact, I won't. This is my second Galaxy, and I don't think I don't think I'll do it again. What's the 10% JavaScript when making websites? Just knowing the basic array methods and string methods would probably be if I do. And then of course control flow and all the standard stuff that goes into any language. But yeah. Is the nano degree courses accredited? No. Respected. I don't think anyone. So most people won't know what your nano degree is. But it's up to you to. So it's about the skills you gain, not the piece of paper. So this is a strange thing because traditional education is about the piece of paper and not the skills you gain because you don't gain any. In these certificate programs like the Udacity Nano degree, 90% of employers aren't going to have any idea what it is. It's up to you to explain it and impress them with it, as well as gain the skills doing X amount of assignments during the program. Are you happy with where you are in your career? I am in the best spot financially and career-wise I have ever been in my life. I am happy, but I am not content. I am part of the reason I just want to do better. I think I can do better, and I'm working hard to do better, if that answers your question. How big should your portfolio be? If you have one impressive project, that's enough. It's about having impressive projects, not the amount of projects. But if you wanted me to throw a number on it, I would say 3 is a healthy amount. How did you grow so fast as a developer? I don't feel like I did. But I mean, I could tell you just, so here's the thing is, about 3 years ago, I told April I was going to work every day for about 5 years, maybe about 2.5 years ago. And I have, and that was very helpful. So I've worked almost every single day outside of work, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be going to meetups, whether it be doing tutorials, courses, studying, whatever it is. Every single day, minus about 2 or 3 times we've gone on vacation, I've come home or woken up early and worked towards that goal. And it's been what has made me most successful in recent times, I guess. What is your definition of doing better as of right now? I mean, financially, I could do better. I'm compensated very well, but who doesn't want more money? In terms of title, I could do better. I want to get senior on my title. In terms of promotions, who doesn't want to be like a lead or something like that? So it's all relative about what it is, right? What's doing better. But those are some very, very financial oriented goals, which is where I'm at right now in life. Why did you choose to code? If not coding, did you have any other life choices? I started coding as a hobby. When I was in school, I was bouncing around college for about 6 years, and I had, I guess, at 4 to 5 years at this point, and I just had my general ed done, but I kept on switching majors, and my father was like, "Yo, man, you gotta start a bachelor's program. You can't jump around anymore." So okay, and so I just did some basic research about what the best job market is, where all the the 3 things that I preach about: high salaries, amount of jobs, and job growth. and everything led me to computer science, which led me to coding. And I enjoyed it while I was in the program, but I didn't fall in love with it like I am now until I dropped out of college and found web development. Consider making some videos on Angular? Yeah. I mean, I just released a 3-hour course on Angular, and I'm working on, if you see on the back screen there, a full stack mean application that's in Angular. Almost done with it too. I put in so much work yesterday that I'm kind of burnt out today. So I probably coded 10 plus hours yesterday. I was going at it. So today I kind of need a break, I think. I already put in an hour and a half today working on it. It probably has, to finish the first rendition of this project, about another 3 hours of work. And then I have to record the videos. I then have to wireframes. I have to do wireframes. I then have to come up with features and bug fixes. I then have to do refactoring on the project. And I then have to upload all that sort of stuff. So it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I have no complaints. I enjoy it all, but it is something that is a process for sure. I actually think this project came out really good. Got that Naked Juice? Yeah, they were on sale. Normally I wouldn't buy this. Hey, Naked Juice, you looking for any coders for some sponsorships? Let me see. Look how good I look with this. When will I propose to April? When we buy our first house, or second house maybe. Yeah, so this is interesting. So I've had a couple of people ask me if I'm going to continue with YouTube. I think a lot of developer channels are leaving because of all the stuff going on with the YouTube adpocalypse, and which is part of the reason I started doing courses, and I have some clothes coming out pretty soon that are pretty sick. So hopefully you guys like that. Yeah, they've even started demonetizing my videos, so I don't blame them for asking the question, but it's unfortunate. Would I ever move to another platform like Steemit? I could do some co-uploads on those platforms, but honestly, there's not really there's not a real contender yet for this stuff. There's not really something to take over. So I don't know. It's something that I'm going to be thinking about because I'm doing a lot more live streams that I delete them, I take them down, and I may just go and start doing live coding on Twitch and leave them up there. So that's something that is definitely a possibility. Also on Twitch, they're much more of a donation tip sort of. I think they're called cheers even. They're much more of a hey, we're cool with giving content creators money, which is not something that's really part of YouTube's culture. So there's that aspect of it as well. Although lately you guys are pulling out the money. I don't know if everyone got their Christmas bonuses or what, but you guys have been very supportive lately, and I want to thank everybody for that support. I think I've gotten in the last month more donations than I got in the last year and a half. So I appreciate that very much. Going back to school and I'm trying and everything else, it helps. So How long should a very junior dev study / prepare for a technical interview? It depends what you mean. Like, do you already have the interview? Like, is the interview lined up and it says, hey, your interview's in 5 days? You should study all 5 days. Or are you just saying, hey, I'm starting to apply for work. How much should I prepare for study? So no interview lined up. So when I was, I'll give you my example. When I was applying after my first year of experience at my previous job, which was about 6 months ago, 3 months before I started my current job, I decided that I was going to leave my workplace because it wasn't going to work out long term. And so what I did was I studied every single day for over a 3-month period, doing algorithms, doing projects, gaining skill sets. So I started preparing every day from the moment I started doing interviews until I got a job. So that would be my advice. Just if you're looking for work, you should be preparing for technical interviews and preparing for interviews in general. How do you manage back pain while coding for long hours? I haven't had that issue. How far in calculus did you go when you were in school? I had 3 calculus courses. I don't remember like what the levels on them were. Yeah, I had I think stats was what I took to get into to transfer, and then I had college algebra. I also had trigonometry, geometry, 3 calculuses, is it dynamic mathematics? No, it doesn't sound right. A sort of out of the box math class as well. That was really fucking useless. Do you know any typical interview questions? Just do some Google searches about whatever the company is, and then also about the what do you call that stupid thing? What the company is, but also about the subjects, the main subject. Like, say it's a Node role, you should do typical interview questions for a Node developer, so on and so forth. Yeah, I have a video about how to prepare for technical interviews. It has some great resources in it. I would suggest checking it out. How am I spending the holidays? Well, my girlfriend is unemployed. We are saving for a house, and I'm going back to college, so we are going to be staying at home and doing nothing because money is tight. If I'm going to be able to buy a house and go back to school while my girlfriend is unemployed, I need to just sort of relax. Yeah, just stay at home. We'll watch. So every Christmas I watch Home Alone 2. Sometimes Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, but so we'll at least watch Home Alone 2. Just hang out. It's just the 2 of us here. We don't know anybody else. So we'll just hang out. I did pick her up a small Christmas present. Am I going to code on the side to make? Oh, it's online, so I'll still have my full-time job. Yeah, and it's at your own pace. My pace, I'm hoping to pick up very rapidly to graduate early. But yes, it's at your own pace, so you can that's what I'm looking for. Still work and everything, so I'll be working my job. I won't interfere at all. Have I ever been to Europe? One time for about 3 days. I went to Brussels. I went with Engineer Truth. He was out there traveling Europe for like 3 months, and I met him out there. I bought a ticket that was on sale. It was like $250 round trip or something stupidly cheap. And then I flew out and we just hung out for a bit, and it's dope. I almost have all my hair back from when that horrible barber cut it off. I'm just looking at it right now. I would love to go to Australia, but it's expensive to fly out there. I've looked into it. Yeah. I remember Matt, some girl invited him down to Australia on some trip. And he looked into it and it was like $2,000 to fly down to Australia, so I don't know what that's about. Hey, Stink. Hey, buddy. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? What up, okay? I have invested a little bit into Bitcoin, yes. Buddy? Where's Steve? Come here. What are you doing up there? Oh. I'm getting sick of holding my phone. Sorry, guys. I have no idea how to, I haven't bought Bitcoin Cash, so I couldn't tell you. God, I can't wait till these braces are off. Doesn't it come with the Bitcoin? It depends on when you got your Bitcoin. If you were there for the split, it also depends on what exchange you were using. So Coinbase has everyone's Bitcoin Cash. When Bitcoin Cash split, it never gave it to anybody. Yeah, the mustache is gone. No more mustachio. No more. Yeah, your exchange probably took it. You think Bitcoin's gonna go to 1 million per coin? That'd be nice. It's going pretty crazy right now. It feels like it's jumping a couple thousand a week right now. Who knows what's gonna happen? So how do you get the split, or is it impossible? I couldn't tell you. I tend to believe we're going to see, so I know like Bitcoin's future is launching. Yeah, I tend to believe that we're going to be in a, once the traditional markets enter it, which is just starting, it will go up. By how much? Who knows? 100-fold is a bold prediction. 100-fold, it would be worth $1 million, so. Yes, your exchange took it. You have to email them, but technically the exchanges own the addresses. They're not yours. So whatever you do with that. That's my understanding of it, anyhow. Yeah, it's on its way to being the to being a when Amazon starts taking Bitcoin, it's game over for regular money. I know Overstock just started taking Bitcoin. I mean, they're no Amazon, but Square Cash, I don't know if it happened yet, but they're going to let you start to send and receive Bitcoin on the Square Cash app. So it's working its way. Yeah. It's a good industry to get into if you're looking for something other than web development. Start researching blockchain. There's a lot of money in it. It's talk about a rapidly expanding field. I honestly think Litecoin will be easier for Amazon to use than Bitcoin. Yeah, that's probably it. So I've kind of a stance on cryptocurrencies is that there's going to be three main cryptocurrencies categories. There's going to be the store valuing category, similar to gold, which is what Bitcoin is, because you can't really do transactions with it. The transaction cost is too much and it's too slow. There's the hey, let's actually have an online currency. That's the what do you call it? Litecoin, something fast, low transaction cost. And then there's the super anonymous currency to do shady stuff, and that's like Monero. I don't know. I couldn't tell you Mandela effect. You'd have to do some research on it. I haven't followed that story. So, the San Francisco verdict on the guy who killed the young girl. I haven't heard about that news. Took me 1 year to get good at JavaScript. Smart, dumb, or average? I don't know. Just be happy you're good at JavaScript now. I don't know what this is meant to be. It's meant to be an AMA to talk about software and coding, answer questions, and provide mentorship and to help out. But somehow we went down the Bitcoin path for the last 20 minutes. Huh, VLS. I'd have to go more into it, but it sounds kind of, sounds like I would need to dive into it a little bit more, but I'd find it hard to believe that they let a guilty guy go because he's clearly guilty. Do I read any books like any other than course related stuff? So I don't read any books for software. Occasionally, I will read a software book. The last book I read though was about a year ago. Is Ready Player One. Is it stressful being a web developer? Like, do you get any free time, or do you constantly have to keep up with to date with the new tech? Well, I'm constantly keeping up to date with the new tech because I'm trying to get better. And is it stressful being a developer? Only if your job is stressful. What I mean by that is it depends on the company. So 70% of people hate their job. That's a combination of not making enough money, working in a bad environment. So I'd encourage you to leave if you're in that situation and go to a less stressful environment. I guess what I'm trying to say is it more depends on the place of employment than the job type. I'm going to cut these sideburns. They're too long. Are there any environments willing to hire people with basic HTML and CSS skills and develop them to be front-end developers? You might be able to get an internship and get lucky, but you're gonna have a hard shot, I would say. It's not impossible. Are you going against the odds? Yes. I encourage people to start applying all the time and just learn from your interviews and see what happens. What if you had a really labor-intensive job and your boss wasn't too bad? That would still be pretty hard. Yeah, if you're being overworked, it's just as, but you have a super nice boss, it's just as bad as being underworked or and having a awful boss. So do you think learning frameworks like Angular will be easier if you're really good with Vanilla.js, or is Basic.js enough to start getting started with Angular, React/Vue? I think Basic.js, as I mentioned, you don't need to worry about the DOM manipulation aspect as much. You should have the language down, minus the DOM manipulation. What if I'm 40 years old and been out of school for 15 years? Can I be an intern? Anybody could be an intern. Why not? You don't think they're going to hire interns? Just because you're older doesn't mean they won't hire you as an intern. I'm sick with the political environment within the industry. How do you cope with it not giving a fuck? Honestly, we don't talk about that sort of stuff at my workplaces I've ever worked at. It might be a little different in SF because it's a very, California in general is very liberal, and I say that as somebody who lived in California for 29 years. So how can I say this? It's definitely one of those things where if someone's constantly throwing in your face, I could see how it could be obnoxious, but I haven't been in that situation. Honestly, I really don't care too much about politics. Because it's like I'm actually trying to do things that are going to affect me, and I don't have time to get upset about things I have no control over. You know what I have control over? I have control over getting me a better job if I choose to, or getting promoted, making more money, because I can study, I can make myself more valuable, I can get a degree, I could become better at JavaScript, I could become better at Angular, I could learn skills such as backend development. These are all things that are within my control. Focusing mental energy and time and money in some cases on worrying about politics within the industry, not something I can control. I might be able to give my 2 cents because I have a platform, right? At some point, if my channel ever gets large enough, maybe I'll have a voice within the industry and I can comment on that. Right now, that is not the case at all, right? You know, we have 23 people in here. We don't have 2,300 or 23,000 developers in here. But I try to control the things that I can. And the other things, I don't really let them bother me. What are some good beginner projects for JavaScript? I don't know. What are your interests? Build something. Build something that you're interested in. That's usually what my advice is. Start a long-term side project and go from there. Had an interview for a junior full-stack developer position this week. We'll have an answer most likely tomorrow, most likely. Interview went very well. Hope it all works out. Good luck, man. I know it's always exciting when you're like, dude, I think I nailed it. Maybe they'll actually call me back and get that first role. Cheers to you. What was my first project? My first real one was my YouTube channel. Let's see. I think it was probably the quote generator on Free Code Camp. Do I do any exercises? So I did for a while, and then I stopped because winter came. But I used to swim every day. I did it for like 4 months while I was down here, and I loved it. And I kind of have been thinking about trying to do it again. If you happen to have a pool in your complex or at your house, just start swimming laps. You ain't got to be, you know, Michael Phelps up in it. I do like 3. So, what's your experience with freelancing? What would you recommend? Learning to freelance? I would recommend that you go and get a job first before trying to freelance. Once you get 5 years of experience, then start freelancing and contract work. That's what I would recommend. No, I'm actually swimming in a real pool. None of those swamps and lakes. I'm trying to not get caught with them gators. Is it common to steal code from other people in the web dev industry? No, you should not. Oh, what is going on? Look, guys, I don't. Woo! Things got weird there for a moment, guys. Did I finish the free code camp challenges? I did the front end. And I did half of the back end. That took about 9 months when I first started out. When should we try doing Upwork? Never. I don't know. I've thought about maybe picking up some front-end work on Upwork to pay for school with side project. I don't know. I thought it might be fun, but honestly, I probably would get paid less than I make hourly. And I want to get paid more than I make hourly. We'll see. I might get around to doing it one day, just to see what I can actually get. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to compete with people who are living in, you know, third world countries. Um, but honestly, I've done freelance work in the past, and on just through like friends and Craigslist. This is years ago, like 2 years ago, but I ask about freelancing because I cannot move. I can't move. Why can't you move? I'll decide if you can't move, because most people say that, and chances are they can. Uh, what essential oils do I use? I use lavender. I also use spearmint. You can move if you buy a house. You can rent your house out. Bad excuse. You can sell your house. There's no reason you can't move. You don't want to move. Okay. Every decision you have has consequences. Last week we did a live stream and the guy said that he can't get a job. And then he says that he wanted to stay in his city and he's turned down 6 jobs out of the state because they were out of his city and not necessarily in the perfect stack he wanted to work in. Some things that I do at work that I didn't know have much experience in. Testing, writing unit tests would probably be the #1 thing. You gotta convince her, man. My girlfriend didn't want to move when we came out here either. Also, a lot of developers, husbands, because men, it's 90% men, so I was just saying husbands. But a lot of developers, they leave their families in other states, in the house, live, and go take a job elsewhere. Consider that. Yeah, when I started applying out of state and I wasn't applying to a limited area, all of a sudden I started getting calls. So, are you talking about moving to California? No, I've lived in California. I'm not moving back. Hey, man, you gotta convince. You gotta, I mean, leave. Honestly, just leave if you have to and say, look, I'll fly home every 3 months. You gotta get that experience. Nothing I have been told is anything that as to why you can't move. It's why you don't want to move or why it's hard to move. You have a house. You can see, the great thing about the internet is you can still make a house payment in another state. Another great thing is you can get a job in another state, live in that state, fly back to see the family in the state. I don't know, man. I'm just telling you, experience over everything. Hey, love don't pay the bills, baby. All right? So I'm just telling you, love ain't going to pay the rent. Love ain't going to pay the mortgage. Love's not going to pay the health insurance. So just throwing that out there. Wallace, you should apply places, not like move and then apply places. I guess a few more questions, then I'm gonna call it a day. I think I'm gonna actually go swimming if it's hot. You have inspired me. When will you be back and do this? Do what? What are we doing? Started out as a front-end developer at 50K. Haven't got a raise in 2 years. Is this normal? No, it's not. But that's your own fault, to be honest. So if you don't get a raise at your first year, your responsibility as an employee is to leave that job for more money elsewhere, because they will pay you it. Now think about it this way. You went from 0 experience to 1 year experience. You have now proved that you have you're at least, at the very least, more experience on your resume, and you have a company that doesn't value you, so another reason to leave. You should go and jump a job to 60K, get a 10K raise. Live stream. I do them every Saturday usually. Today's Sunday, obviously, but every weekend I do a live stream. I also do a live stream every 1,000 subscriber. So same time, it's random. I leave them up on the channel though. They usually won't. They usually won't have a They usually won't have a like a thumbnail. So you'll know it's a live stream that way. So I made a few mistakes and have a felony on my record for distribution of marijuana. I'm really worried about being denied web dev jobs because of it. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean it's a realistic possibility. I would say, so Kyle, my advice. Say I was interviewing somebody. My advice would be you're going to have an interview process. And you're going to, most companies will do a background check for you. My advice as an employee, what I would do if I was in your situation, and if I was an employer, what I would want to hear is I would actually bring it up in the interview, under your own terms. Say you're on the second part of the interview, it's going very well. Ask them what the next steps are, and they say, they essentially say what those are. They say, okay, well, if we like you, this and that, we're going to send you over a contract, and then maybe you'll have to take a drug test, or you also have to do a background check. I would say when that leads you to in there, I would explain my situation. I would say, I just want to, I don't want anything to shock you, but a few years back, about 5 years back, I made, I have a marijuana conviction on my past. I've that part of my life is done and over, but I just don't want it to shock you and disqualify me or anything. I would bring it up on my own terms, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and VLS brings up a good point, is that if you can somehow get it reduced or get it off the record, it's worth the money to do so. Worth the money and time. You solved your problem after 3 days? What did it end up being, Casey? Nested object, the classic. It's always easy once you realize what the issue is. How old am I? I'm 30 years old. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is like it's not the end all be all sort of thing. And damn, you look young as fuck. Good job. It's the braces, man. They'll come off. I'll look like an adult again. But yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. Just and I mean the easy way to go about it is just ask how the interview process normally goes so that you're aware, and when you feel like it's a good time to explain your situation in person if you can. I would practice what you're going to say, but um, it's definitely going to have some implications. But I think you already knew that, right? um, it's not a good thing, right? So here's the thing: there's things that are only good, and there's things that are only bad. Having a good LinkedIn does nothing but help you. Having a nice resume does nothing but help you. Having a personal portfolio does nothing but help you. Having a drug conviction does nothing but hurt you in the worst case scenario, right? So there's things that are neutral and bad, neutral and good, and then there's it goes in either direction. So you just got to kind of try to handle it the best you. Don't be unrealistic. That yeah, will it cost you some jobs? Yeah, probably. But last I checked, you only needed one. Oh, I'm not saying tell the recruiter. Fuck the recruiter. I'm talking about the actual company that's going to give you a job. Yeah. I don't care about recruiters. Recruiters are skin peddlers, as Chris Hawks like to say. I mean, it would also. I would say that it also this particular offense, if you're in California, may not be as big of a deal to some employers, since it's now legal there. All right, guys. Do I watch sports only MMA? Emailed you a few months back, but I got my first role. Hey, congratulations. All right, guys. I'm gonna go swim some laps. I think if it's not too cold out, and then I'm gonna go back to finish that project right there, so I can release another course. Almost done with this. Pretty fun. I will see you guys next time. As always, I do these live streams every 1,000. Today is our weekend live stream, which go here, answer some questions. We kind of shoot the shit, and then we do a bonus live stream every 1,000 subscribers. So keep an eye out for that. See you next time. Oh, you know what? I normally try to do final thoughts. That's one thing that I try to do with these live streams. Is I want to leave you with a little bit of some final thoughts. And I think the conversation about past and being honest is what we're going to talk about right now as I leave. So as we were talking about gentlemen who's passed with the pot conviction, what we're really talking about and how to handle that is to be about honesty and being upfront. And I talk all the time about having good communication skills as a developer, and it's just as important as an individual and as someone job seeking. So when you find yourself in situations in life where you've made a mistake, I'm in that same position, and numerous things. And for a very long time, I felt very uncomfortable talking about dropping out of college and things like that. But especially, you're going into interviews and things like that, and you don't have a degree, and they ask, why'd you drop out? And it's just really uncomfortable for me. It's different than the situation, but the overlying theme here is practice what you're going to say and try to understand why you do things and how you've changed. But more so than anything else, when you are communicating that message to anybody in life, just try to do it in an honest fashion, and I think that will be what's most helpful in life. When I got interviewed numerous times, and I got asked of almost, I would say in the 5 in-person interviews that I had, 4 of them asked me why I dropped out of school. My response was I hated it. And it's the truest response. I hated being a student and being in the CS program. And a lot of them could understand, could relate, and they could appreciate the honesty. So I hope that whatever it is that you're trying to do, that you share it in a honest way, whether it's a mistake, whether it's something that you're self-conscious about. But I think honesty is the best path for almost everything in life. So I'll leave you with that as my final thought. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, support me on patreon.com/codingtutorials360. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.